Journaling is part of the human experience. It documents the human experience. Journaling is where you get to observe and contemplate and reflect and write about your dreams and ambitions and desires and your thoughts, your emotions, periods of your life that you won't really remember in detail when you're looking back on your life. There is a lot of power in the written word, I think, and as an English lit girly, I'm incredibly excited to show you all of my journals. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start with the journal that I use the most every single day. She is my little baby, and this is the journal that really got me to be consistent when it comes to journaling. Obsessed with Growth. It's by Tam Kaur. This is what I write in every single morning. I get up at 6, I have my breakfast, and then I have half an hour of journaling. It came out at the start of this year. 17th of January was the first day I wrote in this book. This is the first time in my life I have managed to stay completely consistent with journaling and pretty much have journaled every single day, and I genuinely think it's changed my life so much, and I'm so grateful that this journal allowed me to do that. 2nd of the 7th 25 was the last time I wrote in it, which is like a couple days ago. So it really did, it's made me consistent, and that's like a whole chunk of my life documented. This journal in particular is more focused on achieving your dreams and becoming your best self. It can also be used as like a daily documentation. If you have a daily recap section, I usually use it to document my thoughts, how I'm thinking, because I feel like for me, I get bored if I just write about my day all the time. Sometimes if something interesting happened, then I will write that down, but I tend to write about my thoughts a lot more because I think life and living is all about perception. If you think about it, your whole life is lived inside your head, and so I think really being able to look back on your life is looking back at when you were 14, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 60, and seeing how your mind has changed, how your thoughts have changed, how you perceived the world at that time in your life. And I think that really truly is the beautiful thing about life. And I would say that the singular con of this journal, which is why I have other journals, is because I realized only a couple days ago really that this journal made me forget the actual purpose of journaling. It made me forget that journaling is about documenting the human experience, and it's not always about trying to become your best self. Because if you fill every single moment of your day with trying to become this amazing, super power human being, you're never actually just sitting with yourself and asking yourself how you are right now. So you're never really truly adapting. You're just like running at the speed of light 24/7 to try and get somewhere that maybe you aren't ready for yet. Do you know what I mean? I was using this singularly as a means of chasing my dreams, and I forgot I'm not just a self-help project. I'm not just a project to be worked on. I'm a living person with thoughts and feelings and ideas about the world that might actually need to be documented as well. Which brings me swiftly on to my next journal. This one right here, I bought this last year, March time, I think, and I haven't used it much, but I've recently started to journal in it again because I realized that journaling is a lot more about, as I keep saying, the human experience and documenting your life and sitting with your emotions. And as an English lit person, I feel it deeply in my soul to romanticize life in every single aspect, to document it, to write poetically. And I feel like I kind of lost my space to do that when I was just using like a structured journal like this one. So I brought this one back, and I would say that around February time is when I really started to just journal properly, journal about my thoughts, how I'm feeling, asking myself shadow work questions. So the pages start to get like a little more full around here. I wrote myself a letter, which I just think is so cute, because if you're in like a good frame of mind and you write your future self something to remember when she's not feeling so good, I think that's such a good way of staying present. And there's this really cool idea that I heard once, which is basically where time isn't linear. We think of time as like a straight line and we're moving through it, but actually there's theories that time is just one. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just circular. So different people exist at certain times and you are time yourself, if you know what I mean. So I think it's really cool to just be able to connect with yourself in that way and almost kind of like trip time. So anyway, this brings us kind of to modern day, the past couple days, and this is how I have been journaling recently. I love it. I'm gonna make a pretty bold statement, but journaling like this has brought to me so many revelations that I would not have gotten otherwise. Just start with a random sentence, because whatever sentence you start with, whatever thought you start with, is going to lead from like this massive trail, and you're just going to come to like a conclusion about the thing that you've started to write about, and you're going to go into more depths and learn more about yourself and go off into little segues and realize things about yourself and why you act the way you do and why you think the way you do and why you started the journal entry with that specific thing. So just start journaling with whatever is on your mind and let your brain work it out. It's basically like brain dumping. I literally start with whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm feeling, whatever is on my mind, because there's no point trying to be someone that you're not in a journal, because you're the only person that's going to read it. Just pretend that you're basically just dumping your thoughts out. No one is going to read this. It's for you. So you can just write whatever is on your mind without needing to put up any sort of falsities and facades. Just be yourself. Write the first thing that comes to mind and just continue to write. And it's okay to take breaks, it's okay to pause, it's okay to contemplate on what you just wrote, but don't ask yourself like, oh, is this right, is this wrong, because that's how you feel and your feelings are valid. So just work your way through the thought and let the thought kind of flow. And that is how I love to journal in this book, and I genuinely feel like it has led me to so many revelations about myself. If you're confused about yourself, if you feel lost, if you feel depressed and horrible, just journal, because it is powerful, and there's a lot in your own mind that you wouldn't realize. It really is. Sometimes the answers are just all in your own head. You just kind of have to search for them and scavenge for them a bit sometimes. I think that this method of journaling is so powerful. So moving on. Okay, we're gonna go to this one. This is my Moleskine booklet, and I love it to death. It is a really thick one, and I actually spilled tea on it, but I kind of love it because it gives it like a weathered, used, worn, old type of vibe. So I'm not mad about the fact that there is tea spill on this. As I've mentioned a couple of times, I am an English Lit girly, and so this journal is not necessarily a journal in the conventional term. It's not where I document my thoughts and feelings in day necessarily. This is the one that comes around with me and will continue to come around with me on every single little trip I go on. There are so many things in life that you will forget straight away, but initially you will think that it is so interesting, or there's something so wonderful about it. There's like these tiny little moments that make up a day, and then time just happens, and then it's been a month, and there's moments in that month, but then you forget about all the small things that made up your days. This is the journal that will fix that. I took it to Greece with me, and I wrote down all of the moments that I would otherwise have forgotten. Basically, the idea of this is that, yes, I'm writing down random little things that maybe no one else would care about, but I find them interesting because not only is that parts of my life and things that were so beautiful about the moment that I was in, but also I can use it in stories. I can use it as inspiration, because I think humans have always been storytelling creatures. I don't care what AI bots are coming into town, you can't take away the inherent ability and trait and desire of humans to share stories. These are the pages from when I went to Greece. You can see it kind of just says Greece Night 2, and it's all of these kind of notes and memories. And I really did, like, we would be at a beach bar or on the beach or by the pool. I would have this in my bag with a little pen ready, because I knew that at any point something could happen that I would want to write down. And at the end of the day, I would sit with this little journal and I would write everything that I loved and all of these little things that are so beautiful about life, and just glimpses of other people that I just thought was so interesting. You have like documentation of snippets of other people that actually lived, and you will never speak to them, you'll never know their name, but you get to look at a little moment in their life, write that down and immortalize it. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite journals. I'm going to Greece again next week, and I am so excited to take this back with me and be able to write down even more things. I feel like I should really start bringing it around with me everywhere, because there is beauty in the mundane. There is joy in the mundane, and I feel like we forget that. This one I specifically use for when I'm in a hard time, when I'm going through something difficult. On the cover, you've probably noticed there's some words, and I actually just wrote this because it came to my mind and I was like, it's kind of good advice in a way. You cannot run away from the hard things, sprint towards them and go straight through it. I feel like that kind of summarizes what I try and do with this journal. So with this journal, I specifically write about the fact that I'm in a rut, or I'm feeling depressed, or I'm struggling with this problem in my mind, or physically I'm just struggling with something, and I work through the problem instead of just ignoring it. A lot of my other journals are about romanticizing life and just documenting things and my thoughts in general, but this specifically is for the hard things and the problems that are a bit more difficult to face. I think it's really important to have a separate place where you can talk about your problems without feel like they're contaminating every other area of your life. It's kind of weird, but when you start to like physically separate the problems, you start to see that although it might seem like they're taking up your entire mind, you have a lot of other evidence and a lot of other places where good things happen, where beautiful things happen. It's almost a physical representation of your mind, having so many different journals, because yes, you have the pain, you have the problems, you have the issues, you have the things you want to avoid, you have the ugly, bitter truths that you think no one is going to love. You can write that. You can write that down. That's a small part of your brain, but you also have all of these thoughts and feelings and ideas and dreams and different areas of your life in your mind that are so much more than the problems and the issues. These just feel more prevalent, but there's a lot of weight in gold when it comes to the good things. It's only a short one, but I do like it, and there are still a lot of pages left in here to use. So I called this journal my accountability journal, a documentation of growth and action. Again, you can really see that I used to view myself as a self-help project and that alone, and I was like, well, I'm going to do this for 90 days and I'm going to journal about every single rule I set myself, and I'm going to be a robot and achieve my dreams that way. I think sometimes if you think of journaling as an ecosystem, a natural ecosystem, you have things that end up dying out and you have things that go extinct, and I think sometimes a journal ecosystem is kind of meant to reflect that as well and kind of have a certain lifespan. I think what this journal really taught me, although it was valuable for holding myself accountable to my goals and the boundaries that I set for myself, all in all, it taught me that a human is free flowing. So although I don't really use this journal anymore, there was a valuable lesson in it for me. You can't just put yourself in a cage, and you can't just set yourself boundaries and be strict with yourself, because a human is free flowing. You're an entity and a body full of life and love and energy and thoughts and feelings and emotions, and you can't always just be contained in a tiny little journal representing 90 days that will change your life. I appreciate it in all of its glory. I'm glad that it was here for that time in my life, but unfortunately, do I think that a 90-day journal to change your life is a good idea? Probably not. Okay, so this last journal. These journals, they're not all being used in a singular time span. We have to remember this is an ecosystem, and ecosystems change over years. This is the journal that I struggle the most to be consistent with. It's kind of sad because it is really pretty and I do really love it, and it's a big part of my life. It is my book journal. I think I started this back in 2022 because this is when I read the After series, which I rated very highly at the time and probably wouldn't now. I am a reader girly, I'm a book girly. I don't just mean in the sensationalized TikTok cartoon cover romance way. I am a fully fledged English lit Shakespeare analysis girly, and I wanted a place that was basically like my physical version of a Goodreads account. I wanted to be able to document the books that I was reading and write down my favorite quotes when I was annotating them, and then write down my thoughts at the end of the book. And I think the reason why I struggled so much to stay consistent with this journal is genuinely just because I'm lazy. Essentially, in this book, I like to write down what book I was reading, give it a 5 out of 5 star rating. I like to do my little like summary of the book, and then I like to write out all the quotes that I highlighted and that were my favorite in the book. And that officially brings us to the end of my journaling ecosystem video. I feel like for me, journaling is a huge part of my life. I have many journals from over the years, and it's so fun to even look back a few months ago, because I feel like you forget how much you change, and you look back over a certain amount of time and you just realize, whoa, like I've changed so much. But change happens very quickly. You can change your mindset and your ideologies and your beliefs and your ideas so much. You can go back and forth and you can become a completely different person within the span of weeks. Because you're living every second of every day, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes and it feels like time is going quickly. Every second contributes towards something, and every second will change you and make you a different person, and you will look back and realize that all those seconds added up to a completely different person. So I think it's beautiful to be able to document the process of that, and these different journals just kind of represent a little bit of an ecosystem of life, I feel like, and the circular motion of life. I'm literally dropping them because of how many I have, but I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's 28 minutes long, so I do need to edit it. And I would just leave you with the thought that journaling will change your life. It might not feel like it, it might look boring, it might be hard to stay consistent, and I'm gonna love you and leave you with that. I love you, I believe in you, I am so grateful you are here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.